We have seen cases. I have seen it in Maharashtra recently with the journalist Pradeep Bhandari, and in Odisha, the journalist Ramesh Rath, where the police are being misused by the local governments there for political purposes. They are picking up journalists without warrant. They are raiding premises without warrants. Custodial interrogation requires certain rules to be followed that are not being done. This is highly politicized. Now, you may not like a particular channel or what they are saying. They may be very loud and obnoxious, but that's what freedom of speech is about. And in both these cases, certain excesses are being exposed. In Maharashtra, arrests have been made based on some of the exposes made. In Odisha, there is massive scam of hundreds of crores of rupees from COVID money sent by the union government to the state. Once this is being exposed, the state governments are cracking down on these journalists. I have also made the point that this should not happen in a constitutional democracy like India. In places like Balochistan, in Pakistan, we hear about police behaving like this, without following any rules, without any due process of law. They pick up journalists and take them away, assault them, torture them. The fact that these sort of things are beginning to happen in India is horrible. And one other thing I would like to point out, this is especially for those so-called liberals who often return their awards and they make allegations against BJP-run states. There is a fundamental difference. In BJP-run states, invariably when somebody is detained, you will find that the court has authorized it, warrants have been issued, or bail has been denied. Whereas these instances in Maharashtra and Odisha are just the opposite, where blatantly disregarding the court process, blatantly disregarding in some cases bail having been given, people are being physically picked up. This is real fascism. It must be opposed.
Sir, Shashi Tharoor recently Literature Festival, he said that India has failed miserably in dealing with COVID-19 and Pakistan actually did better than that. So we envy the neighboring state who are doing better. Despite Rahul Gandhi alerting the government in February, he also made some statements on how Muslims are not happy and they are being targeted. He took name of Tablighi Jamaat, and he also said that northeastern citizens, people of northeast, are also treated differently in India. How do you see this? Because this is an international forum on which he made these claims.
I read about these remarks made by Shri Shashi Tharoor, and if that's accurate, then I condemn it. This is very disappointing. It's a basic tenet of politics and a basic tenet of diplomacy that no matter what differences you have in your country, you do not go outside your country and criticize it. This is followed by most leaders of democratic nations and in India also. But in recent times, the Congress party seems to have broken all these conventions and norms because of its desperation. It's not getting support from the people of India in elections. This is the way it is throwing mud. It's deep anger or resentment against Modi ji and the BJP government should not be taken to the extent where it harms India. And I completely, vehemently deny these allegations that you are reporting. India is a constitutional democracy where every citizen, irrespective of religion, irrespective of gender, or caste or creed, is given the same rights. And if you look at the allegations he makes about minorities, if you look at the allegations he makes about people in the Northeast, it is not borne out by facts. So I'm very disappointed that somebody in public life in India should be going, and that too to a country like Pakistan, which is known for its human rights violations, which is known for its harboring of terrorists, particularly targeting India. It just defies common sense. I don't think the people of India will tolerate this when they hear about it.
Mr. Amit Shah has reiterated the fact that its army are ready for the war if it happens with China. And they're bound to, they are pledged to secure every inch of land on the border. This is amid the standoff, and Congress is always attacking the center on issue of China and the Ladakh border standoff we have with China. How do you see this statement, and why do you think the center is retreating? They are forced to make it every day.
Let's be very clear. India doesn't want war with anybody. But also let's be clear that this is not 1962. This is a very different India. This is a very confident India and capable of taking care of our interest, and certainly we are not going to compromise even 1 inch of our land. And this has to be made clear to the world. The world sees what is happening on our borders, the behavior of China. It is concerning countries all around the world, not just its behavior with us, but behavior with other nations. The reason it needs to be made clear is that people should not be under the misunderstanding that India is somehow the same India of 1962, or even the same India where 20 years ago it gave away large tracts of our land because of inability to stand up, because of inability to back our armed forces. That has changed. If you see under the Modi government, the kind of backing that the armed forces has got, the kind of long delayed armaments replenishment, including the Air Force, that have finally taken place. The armed forces themselves, the Jawans themselves who are making sacrifices, are asserting that they will take care of India. They are not backing down to anybody. And yet, you have the Congress party particularly going around trying to demoralize the forces. They constantly question what our forces say. They constantly say things that are exactly in line with what China says, what Pakistan says. So it is necessary for the Indian government and leaders of the Narendra Modi government, such as Home Minister Samachar to point out that what Congress is trying to represent India is not true. That was the India of 1962. This is a different India.
Farooq Abdullah and PDP have of this alliance, and they have formed an alliance to ensure that Jammu Kashmir will regain its special status. Farooq Abdullah, in fact, he said that if China couldn't win, how do you see this?
First of all, Article 370 was the only article in India's constitution which had the word temporary before it. Every major Indian leader over the decades had said that it must go. Modi ji showed the determination and the political will to bring it about in Parliament, and you can see that it has taken out many discriminatory laws. If Farooq Abdullah ji wants to bring back Article 370, then what it means is that he wants to bring back discrimination against Dalits, which was prevalent in Jammu and Kashmir before the abrogation of 370. It means that he wants to bring back discrimination against women. It means he wants to bring back discrimination against the LGBTQ community, which the Supreme Court of India has overruled, but under Article 370 it was permitted in Jammu and Kashmir. That's not acceptable in India. And let me say that, this comment, if it is true, that any leader in Jammu and Kashmir asks China to intervene and ensure the return of Article 370 is just is horrendous. It simply cannot be tolerated. And this is exactly precisely the Pakistani line. So there is no question of that being